Azhari Dharmawan.
My name is Muhyiddin.
I'm Rico Septiawan.
We are from Group 2. In this video, we are gonna explain to you about Technic of Translation. Hello everyone, I'm Azhari Dharmawan. Here I'm gonna explain to you about the definition of translation technique and 3 techniques of translation in direct translation. Translation technique is a method used to transfer message from SL to SL, applied at level of words, phrase, clause, and sentence. The translation technique is a collection of several ways in translating a sentence or word at the micro level. In other words, translation techniques are tools or methods used to translate a sentence or word in a reading text. Alright guys, here are 10 common of translation technique that we can use to translate your document and achieve the best translation. We start from direct translation. In direct translation, we have 3 techniques. The first technique in direct translation is borrowing. Borrowing is the taking of words directly from one language into another without translation. Many English words are borrowed into other language. For example, software in the field of technology and fun in culture. Borrowing techniques are divided into 2 types, namely pure borrowing and naturalized borrowing. Pure borrowing. Pure borrowing means a technique of borrowing words without changing anything from the source language. For example, the word sandwich in English is translated exactly into sandwich in Bahasa, right? And the next one is naturalized borrowing. This naturalized borrowing technique takes word from the target language but by adjusting the sound. For example, the word group. In English, the word group has 5 words, namely G, R, O, U, P. This word was then taken and used as bahasa by changing the writing from the word group to group, namely G, R, U, P, with the same meaning. Well, the second technique is calque. This technique actually has similarities to the borrowing technique. The similarity is that this calque and borrowing technique both translate words by translating the lexical and structural elements. The main feature of the calque technique is it can translate words and phrases, while the borrowing technique can only translate words. An example of the use of calque technique can be seen in phrase general assistance, which is the translated to assistant general in Bahasa. From the translation of this phrase, we can see that the lexical elements in the 2 sentences are still present. And the third is literal translation. Literally, it means that translation is done by translating words only. In meaning, the message conveyed may not be conveyed. For example, search language, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Target language, or in Bahasa, membunuh 2 burung dengan 1 batu. Actually, the sentence killing 2 birds with 1 stone is a proverb. in English, which means doing two jobs at the same time. Therefore, it is not suitable if the sentence is translated using literal translation technique, because, like I said before, the message conveyed in the third language cannot be conveyed properly. If, for example, you ask to translate the sentence, it will be more suitable to translate it using adaptation technique that will be explained by my friends, so that the sentence can be translated into sambil menyelam minum dua air in bahasa. Yeah, it's the real meaning of killing two birds with one stone if we use the right type of translation technique. So, what is the use of literal translation technique for? Alright, the use of literal translation technique is to translate words that have equivalent lexical elements and the same sentence structure. For example, the word I love you, we can translate it with the word aku cinta kamu. Alright, that's the explanation from me, and the next material will be explained by my friends. See you.
Text theory is the indirect technique. Indirect or oblique translation technique are used when the two language cultures are feature apart. This technique changes structural and conceptual elements in order to preserve the meaning and use of the text. First, transportation. Transportation technique is a translation technique that is carried out to change the grammatical structure, change the quotation of adjective, or even change the plural from the singular with the aim of being adjusted to match with the structure of the target language. For example, I have a blue book. Saya punya buku biru in Indonesia. The first sentence, there is a change in the grammatical structure of the target language. The word blue book translates to blue book. This change was made to adjust the grammatical element in the target language. Next is true technique is the modulation. This technique requires a high level of creativity because we are requested to see another point of view from the sentence. Actually, the modulation technique is a translate technique that is done by changing our point of view or focus from the sound language. This change of point of view can be lexical, the meaning of the word, or structurally. Well, you are going to have a baby. In Indonesia, kamu akan menjadi ayah. The first sentence translation is to change the point of view of the sentence by changing its focus. In the sounds language, the main focus is we will request something, namely shelter. But in the target language, Indonesian, the point of view changes. The second point of view is more focused on the result of us having children, namely being a parent. Equivalence. Equivalent is standard equivalent, or in Indonesian is referred to as the usual equivalent. The word common means common. There is the established equivalent technique is a translation technique that emphasizes the side of the prevalence or the fairness of translation in the target language. In order to improve our understanding, let's look at the following English sentence. In Indonesian, apakah undang-undang kembali? If we translate it into English, it becomes, have you ever gone to Bali? But if English people hear us talk like this, maybe to them our words sound stranger. So they usually translate in English is, have you ever been to Bali?
Hello everyone, I'm Rico Septiawan, and I will continue the explanation of my friends about adaptation, compensation, reduction, and expansion. First, adaptation. Adaptation is a technique that replaces the cultural elements of the source language with cultural elements known in the target language. This can be done because the cultural elements in the source language are not found in the source language, or the cultural elements in the source language are more familiar to target audience. This technique is done by replacing the something cultural elements in the source language with similar cultural elements in the target language. This technique is the same as the cultural inclusion technique. For example, source language in English is the rising sun is found now to be rising sun. It's the word which goes around in bahasa target language. Bahasa matahari terbit ternyata bukan matahari terbit. Dunialah yang sebenarnya memotif. Considering the cultural element of us understand that the translator is not the only person involved in the translation process. In this context, adaptation is very important. Translation technique, it is necessarily when something specific to one language culture is expressed in a totally different way that is familiar or appropriate to another language culture. It's a shift in the culture improvement. Next, compensation. Compensation is a translator technique in which the translator introduces information elements or stylistic influences of the source language text as well in the target language text. This technique that introduces source language element of information or stylistic effect in another place in target language, because it cannot be replicated in the same place in the source language. For example, in English, if there is a place you got to go, I'm the one you need to know. If there's a place you got to get, I can get you there, I'm them. And in bahasa, jika kau mencari tempat, akulah orang yang tepat. Jika kau mencari lokasi, akulah orang yang kau cari. Translator changes the element information and gives styling effect in target language because the source language cannot be replicated at the same place. Source language. If source language is translated literally, of course, its translation in target language is different with structure, even meaning in source language. Then reduction. Reduction is a technique to reduce certain elements of the source language. It is also called elimination, omission, or subtraction, which is suppressing a source language information in the target language. For example, source language in English. Mom, why didn't you wake me? And the target language in bahasa is, kenapa kau tidak membangunkan aku? Translator reduce the noun mom in the target language if the utterance in the source language translated literally, it will be ibu. Kenapa kau tidak membangunkan aku? There is the reduction word of mom or ibu. And at last, expansion. Expansion is a translation technique method which is characterized by expansion of function and categories due to the description of the meaning of the source language in a target language. The opposite of reduction, this is when words are added in the order to the first third meaning. This can be due to the difference in synthesis, structure, grammar, terminology. For example, the reference of reduction politics in English would be rendered as science politics in French. Since French also use gender articles, expansion is natural when translating from English into French.